Have you ever waved back at someone who was actually waving to the person behind you and felt a sudden, violent urge to move to a different country and change your name? Why on earth would we evolve to feel this level of soul-crushing agony over something so small? Welcome to your brain, a masterpiece of biological engineering. Unfortunately, it is running on software that hasn't been updated since the Stone Age. To understand why we get shy or embarrassed, we have to travel back about 50,000 years. Meet Grog. Grog lives in a tribe of about 40 people. In Grog's world, there are two ways to die. The first is the obvious stuff: predators, starvation, or a very angry rhinoceros. But the second way is much scarier: social death. For ancient humans, the tribe was your life support machine. They provided the warmth, the food, and the protection. If you did something so cringe or weird that the tribe decided they didn't like you anymore and kicked you out, you were essentially dead. You can't hunt a woolly mammoth by yourself, Grog. You're just a snack with a spear. This is the core of the issue. Embarrassment is actually the fear of being alone. And because humans are obligate social animals, creatures that physically and psychologically require a group to survive, the fear of being alone is, at its biological root, the fear of dying. When you trip in public, your brain isn't worried about your dignity. It's worried about your survival. It thinks, if I look incompetent, the group will see me as a liability. If I am a liability, I will be abandoned. If I am abandoned, I will die. Here's the wild part. Your brain is actually kind of lazy when it comes to organizing pain. A famous study by Dr. Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA used fMRI scans to show that social rejection and physical pain, like stubbing your toe or breaking a bone, are processed in the same neighborhood, the anterior cingulate cortex. When you get left on red or nobody laughs at your joke, your brain isn't being dramatic. It genuinely thinks you've been physically wounded. It's using the most intense signal it has, pain, to tell you, hey, fix this. If the tribe leaves us, we're going to get eaten by a bear. So that burning feeling in your chest when you say "you too" to a waiter who tells you to enjoy your meal? That's just your prehistoric hardware trying to save your life. It doesn't realize the waiter is a stranger you'll never see again. It just knows you broke a social ritual, and it's panicking. To your brain, a typo in a group chat is a flesh wound. This survival-based social alarm system doesn't just keep us in the tribe. It makes us feel like we're constantly under a microscope. Think about it. If your life depends on the group's approval, you can't afford to be careless. You have to monitor yourself constantly. This evolutionary hypervigilance is exactly why, even today, we fall victim to the spotlight effect. We tend to walk into a room feeling like every single person is judging our haircut or the way we're walking, as if we're the main character in a movie, and everyone else is an extra watching our every move. Researchers Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky proved this by having students wear embarrassing t-shirts into a room of peers. The students wearing the shirts predicted that half the room would notice their uncool shirt, but in reality, only about 20% of people actually did. Back in Grog's tribe of 40 people, people were actually watching you. In a small group, your reputation was your currency. If you were the guy who always forgot to bring back firewood, everyone knew. You were under a constant microscope because that's how the group stayed efficient. If you looked off or acted strange, the tribe noticed because it might mean you were sick, untrustworthy, or a threat to the group's precious harmony. But today, you live in a world of billions. You walk past more people in a day than Grog saw in his entire life. Your brain, however, hasn't done the math. It still thinks you're in a tiny tribe where every mistake is recorded in the book of eternal judgment. In reality, everyone else is also experiencing the spotlight effect. They aren't thinking about your awkward hello. They're too busy worrying about their own hello they messed up 3 years ago. We usually think of shyness as a bug in the system, but it's actually a feature. Evolution loves variety. If every human were 100% bold and fearless, our species would have ended very quickly because we would have all tried to pet the giant spicy cats. In the animal kingdom, there's a strategy called watch and wait. Evolutionary biologists note that in many species, a shy temperament is a valid survival tactic. The bold humans find the berry bushes first. Great. But they're also the ones who get poisoned by the berries or eaten by the tiger guarding the bush. The shy humans stay at the edge of the woods. They watch. If the bold humans survive, the shy humans move in. Shyness isn't weakness, it's a risk assessment tool. Your brain is just being extra careful with your life. It's saying, I don't know these people yet. Let's see if they're friendly before we start doing stand-up comedy. Being shy meant you were less likely to provoke a fight with a dominant stranger. It kept you alive long enough to pass on those cautious genes. Why do we feel embarrassed even when we are totally alone? Like you're in the shower and you remember something stupid you said in the 3rd grade, and you actually groan out loud? Because waiting for the tribe to kick you out is a game over. It's much safer to have an internal critic, a little voice in your head that yells at you before you do something stupid. This is related to sociometer theory, proposed by psychologist Mark Leary, which suggests that self-esteem is actually an internal gauge, like a fuel tank, that monitors how much other people value us. If our social fuel gets too low, we feel bad, which motivates us to go out and reconnect or fix our behavior. Evolution hardwired a simulated audience into our minds. We cringe at our own past actions because our brain is performing a system check. It's reviewing old footage and saying, don't do that again, it was risky for our social standing. It's basically a software update that runs in the background while you're trying to sleep. Shame is the brain's way of saying, download the latest How to Be a Normal Human patch. To really understand the weight of this, we have to look at how humans are built. We aren't the strongest animals, we don't have claws, we can't fly, and we aren't particularly fast. Our only superpower is cooperation. Because we rely so heavily on the group, we have developed a hypersensitivity to social cues. We can spot a micro-expression of disgust on someone's face in milliseconds. We are obsessed with gossip because gossip was the original background check for our ancestors. We care what celebrities think because our brains haven't realized that a person on a screen isn't a high-ranking member of our local tribe whose opinion could get us exiled. This deep-seated need for approval is why solitary confinement is considered one of the most severe forms of punishment. Without social feedback, the human mind begins to break. To your DNA, being alone isn't just lonely, it's an emergency. This ancient stay-in-the-group directive is so powerful that it shapes almost every interaction we have today, from the clothes we choose to the way we laugh at jokes that aren't actually that funny. When you feel that wave of shyness or that heat of embarrassment, it's worth remembering that your brain is just performing its most basic, essential function, trying to keep you alive. It's a bizarre paradox of the modern world that the very traits which helped Grog survive the savannah, being hyper-aware of his peers and cautious around strangers, are the same ones that make walking into a quiet library feel like walking into a lion's den. Your social anxiety is effectively a very old, very loyal guard dog that is currently barking at a shadow because it doesn't quite understand that the tribe has grown from 40 people to 8 billion. Instead of viewing this instinct as a defect, we can see it as the literal foundation of human civilization. It's the social glue that allowed us to build cities, share knowledge, and protect one another for millennia. Every time you feel awkward, you're experiencing a direct link to the survival tactics of your ancestors. It's a messy, loud, and sometimes painful piece of biological history that proves we were never meant to handle the world on our own. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.